So none of them, absolutely none of them, believed in any of these claims, believed in any of these people, or even thought it was anything less than harmful to let these people speak on these matters on massive platforms to the American public. And despite all of that, it didn't stop a single one of them from not having them on, or at the very least, not promoting the lie. There is zero journalistic integrity at Fox. I don't know, like, I know this is somehow going to fall on deaf ears again with a lot of their, news base, but this is, like, that's incredibly alarming. Hello, Halfpint here, and I just wanted to say real quick, if you've been enjoying my content, please remember to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and follow me on Twitch so you can always catch us when we're live and see more content. Also, if you are new here, welcome in, and if you're enjoying the video, please remember to like it because it helps me out a lot. I also post funny clips and other things on TikTok. All the links are in the description below, and thanks again. Now let's get into the video. The first thing I wanted to look at is this Dominion lawsuit over Fox News for all the things that have come out. So we're just going to read through this a little, and then we're going to watch a video about a deeper dive into Tucker Carlson's role into things, because he's, the worst. Fox News personalities and executives privately made it clear that they didn't believe the falsehoods peddling from former President Donald Trump and his allies about fraud in the 2020 election, despite pushing them on air, a new court filing by Dominion Voting Systems alleges. Part of a billion-dollar defamation suit the voting company is waging to hold Fox liable for its on-air claims. So, oh man, what was it? A week or two back, some texts and emails leaked, and they showed that Tucker Carlson, one, I believe, had issues with Laura Ingraham, and didn't actually, he had issues, like, internally. Like, there are some hosts that don't like each other and think each other crazy. Tucker Carlson, and this is the craziest thing for me, he said that he personally found, the lies about the democracy to be damaging and, I almost said superfluous, but I don't know if that's actually the right word, but just like stupid, unbelievable, incredible, I guess, incredible, but not in like an amazing way, but like there's no credibility to the statement, but he was still pushing narratives and reporting on it, because that's what his network had chosen to do. It's kind of appeared that was a response from higher ups at the network, Rupert Murdoch specifically, who also has commented saying perhaps Laura Ingraham, Hannity, and Carlson went a little far, despite the fact that he was, making some decisions and pushing for some profits. So, I don't know. He seemed to have responded to the situation after Trump, when Fox News was one of the first to call Arizona. And once they had called Arizona, Trump was saying, this is a lie, this can't be. You should turn away from Fox, look to this other news network. And in a response to that, Fox News corrected, so to speak, and tried to re-grab their fan base by telling them whatever they wanted to hear. And then they proceeded to do that for months, despite having actual information or believing otherwise, which is disingenuous reporting and kind of, it defeats the entire purpose of journalism. So it just shows that they have as little integrity as we all imagined they had. Dominion filed a motion for summary judgment with the court as part of its long-running defamation suit against Fox News, which included significant evidence that had previously not been made public in the case, most notably Fox officials allegedly denying the far-right conspiracy theory linking Dominion voting machines to election fraud. Host Tucker Carlson said in text message that far-right attorney Sidney Powell is lying and called her claims insane and absurd, saying it was shockingly reckless to push the Dominion fraud claims, and Powell was poison and unguided missile and dangerous as hell, as he hopes. She's punished. I read that like Tucker Carlson. That was what I was kind of doing there. Carlson also wrote after January 6th attack that Trump is a demonic force, a destroyer, and told, God, I can't stop doing it. Fuck. And told host Laura Ingraham he had to make the Trump White House disavow Powell's comments, calling her a nut. Host Sean Hannity testified he did not believe for 1 second that Powell's voter fraud claims were true, and it was obvious. Powell's allegations were false when she appeared on his program. Also saying far-right attorney Rudy Giuliani was acting like an insane... Well, that's always been true. I don't know that there's ever been a time where Rudy Giuliani wasn't acting like an insane person. And calling the lawyers fucking lunatics. Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott also testifies she had a number of conversations with Hannity where he wanted the president to accept the results, and she had believed President Joe Biden unlawfully won the election for some time. I don't know why, but reading all of that, all I could think about was just like, remember that time that Rudy Giuliani was in that Borat 2 movie? Remember that? How he was there to like meet up with a young girl for like sexual activities. That was crazy. No one talks about that. OMG, almost forgot about that. Yeah, like, right? Like, did you remember that? That was insane. That was insane. There's so much. Ingram called Powell a complete nut and added, ditto with Rudy Giuliani, telling Carlson there's no serious lawyer could believe they were saying, and calling Judy such an idiot. Fox host Lou Dobbs, who repeatedly hosted Powell on his program, agreed under oath that it was false to say Powell revealed evidence of voter fraud on his show. And Dominion alleges that no Fox witness has testified that there's any evidence of voter fraud involving Dominion machines. Powell's evidence for her voter fraud claims was based on an email from someone who claimed to be an internally decapitated? Claimed to be internally decapitated and said, the wind tells me I'm a ghost, but I don't believe it. A message that Fox Maria Bartiromo acknowledged under oath was nonsense and kooky. Okay, cool. So some of us do have our feet on the ground, but she still put Powell and her claims on her program anyway. Never mind. Fox Corporation Chairman Rupert Murdoch called Giuliani's allegations really crazy stuff and damaging. Said he should be taken with a large grain of salt, and called the fact that he was advising Trump really bad. Fox Corporation executive Raj Shah called the voter fraud claims mind-blowingly nuts and said in text message to Carlson producer Alex Pfeiffer, so many people openly denying the obvious that Powell is clearly full of it, to which Pfeiffer responded that Powell is a fucking nutcase. Fox host Dana Perino described the Dominion fraud allegations in text and emails as total BS, insane, and nonsense, writing, where the hell did they even get this Venezuelan tie to Dominion? I mean, what the fuck? Fox host Brett Baer said on November 5th, there is no evidence of fraud. None. So none of them, absolutely none of them, believed in any of these claims, believed in any of these people, or even thought it was anything less than harmful to let these people speak on these matters on massive platforms to the American public. And despite all of that, it didn't stop a single one of them from not having them on, or at the very least not promoting the lie. There is zero journalistic integrity at Fox. I don't know, like, I know this is somehow going to fall on deaf ears again with a lot of their, news base, but this is like, that's incredibly alarming. Literally not journalism, that is propaganda. That is all that is. And we all bipartisanly seem to be fairly against propaganda, at least in the working class. We agree that it serves as no other means than to just attempt to control us and guide us to opinions, which we don't appreciate. So like, just from that standpoint alone, I would have hoped more people would have been outraged and talking about this.
In the absence of any universally recognized standard or source of news, what happens? Well, rumors take the place of news. And so ultimately you have an electorate that is really poorly informed and incredibly suspicious. And in that environment, all sorts of crazy conspiracy theories bloom and take the place of facts.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do, buddy. Cool. So it's just like a conscious manipulation from the start. That's awesome.
Fact check. True. Now, that was 14 years ago, Mr. Carlson discussing standards, news, conspiracy theories, and the wider implications. And I'm going to show you tonight why some of what he has long said before is actually incriminating for him now, but also why it matters on a broader basis. Mr. Carlson was talking then long before he was embroiled in what is now a case about lies, what's technically called defamation, a suit against his network, including his comments, material, his evidence is all in there for over $1 billion. And there's a gap between what Carlson tells his audience and what he apparently believes, what he privately admits. He wasn't getting hired to host another TV show, so he created his own media, a political news website called The Daily Caller in 2010.
I
and
did
he
not
argued
know
it would be a
this.
conservative answer to popular sites at the time like Huffington Post. And he said it wouldn't be partisan. Quote, our goal's not to get Republicans elected.
Wait. Okay, so if it's the conservative answer to the Huffington Post, how can it also promise not to be like, but we're bipartisan. We are specifically a conservative publication, but we have no bias. Okay, that statement checks out. What? Holy crap, dude. We're so broken. We're so brain broken. We're so fucking brain broken, dude. You can literally state your bias and then right after that say, but we're not biased. And people will be like, thank God.
We're not going to suck up to people in power. That's disgusting, he told the Washington Post.
Cool.
So that's 2010 Tucker.
Now he's sucking up to people in power, whether it's Rupert Murdoch or Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani or whoever the fuck is promoting some lie that his base wants to hear. He's just absolutely going to sell his soul, sell his integrity. I don't think he has any of those things left, but he will sell anything he possibly can, abstract or physical, in order to maintain this culture war.
And the point's not just hypocrisy. The point is that Carlson's own standard informs his potential liability.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, because it shows his capacity of awareness. You know, it shows how much he was aware of the situation he was engaging in, how immoral he actually, on record, believes it to be. All of those things go to indicate a level of guilt and premeditation to his actions, which makes it pretty hard to deny that this was anything less than a very intentional propaganda campaign, you know, against the 2020 election.
Now, and it shines a kind of a weird and perhaps troubling light on how this all works, at least for people like him who are willing to tell you things that the Dominion suit suggests are misleading or false, and that you know with your own eyes aren't true when it comes to his January 6th denialism, his trutherism. Now, he took his mission, though, at that time, remember when he just said he wasn't going to do what he's doing now, he said he wanted more accuracy in conservative media, and accuracy in any type of media is great. He took that argument to the crowd.
How could you possibly argue for accuracy, more accuracy in media, when you have group chats and email chains where all of you are talking about how none of you believe in anything you spend your time saying day in and day out? Like, we need more integrity and accuracy in media, and I'm going to lie to all of you about everything. Making it great again.
At the famously conservative CPAC conference. So we're going into the archives here. Watch how that CPAC crowd boos then 2010 Mr. Carlson.
Really?
For simply saying something. Saying conservatives should have institutions devoted to accuracy.
If you create a news organization whose primary objective is not to deliver accurate news, you will fail. You will fail. The New York Times is a liberal paper, but it's also, and it is to its core a liberal paper, it's also a paper that cares about whether they spell people's names right.
Okay.
By and large. It's a paper that actually cares about accuracy. Conservatives need to build institutions that mirror those institutions. That's the truth. You don't believe me? The New York Times? You don't think?
Ooh, that was rough. That was I can't imagine. Okay, dude, I can't imagine they're booing fact checking in 2010. No, we can't look at the facts. If they look at the facts, they'll know we're lying. What are you, stupid? Oh my god, dude. That's crazy. I feel like I know what he was going to say there, too. He was going to say, like, the New York Times? You guys are going to say the New York Times isn't a successful publication? I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with the New York Times. Not that I care. Like, he's right about that. But I don't know that, like, you can equate getting someone's name spelled right to, like, factual accuracy. And maybe that's because he didn't want to, like, speak too highly of New York Times, but yeah, I think what happened there is he said the New York Times only prints the truth, and all of them had like 1 or 2 articles in their head that they specifically disagreed with or remembered seeing something about, and they're like, no, absolutely not. And I don't even know if that's true. I don't read the fucking New York Times.
Now, Carlson was briefly onto something.
For a moment.
The people booing were not only in that literal audience, they were his target audience, which never materialized. As the reports told it, there wasn't an audience, and within a few months, Tucker's website was pushing, quote, fake news, an outrage-driven commentary. So that's a contradiction publicly exposed.
Anything for the bag. Anything for the bag. It took exactly, what, like 3 months, he said? 1 to 3 months before he just immediately switched all morals and values and started doing something fundamentally different from the mission statement? That's awesome. Imagine if a business came out, right, and it was like a sandwich. It was like a sandwich shop. And it was like healthy foods. Healthy sandwiches, that's what they're doing. And it's their mission statement to provide affordable but healthy food to people that is fresh and made to order. Let's say that's their whole thing. And then after 3 months, it's not really working because for whatever reason the area they're in, it's like Pawnee, Indiana. They don't like healthy food. Boo. So they're just not showing up. You're getting like very few customers. It's not looking good for you. The lights are barely on. So you just decide, fuck it. And you switch it all to like just the most fried, processed deli meats and like, I don't know, just the most unhealthy version. Like you essentially go from like an actually healthy, nice Subway, maybe a Mr. Good Sense or something, and then switch to Arby's. Like, what? Are you serious? And then you're still going to pretend you're the same company with the same values? You're literally not. You're now working actively against what you sought to combat, like, in the first place. I don't understand. It's the definition of you can't beat him, join him. And for him to still have that moral superiority in his tone and just the way he reports on things, and he clearly does, like, I'm here to give you the truth. I'm here to break things down because everyone else is lying to you. Well, I'm not going to lie to you, America. I'm your big peepaw, and I'm going to help you prepare for the real world. It's amazing to me that he still carries around that like persona when it sounds like he's been full of shit after 3 months of trying. He literally tried for 3 months and then gave up and was just like, I'll just lie to make money. Whatever.
And you can't erase the internet. So we have what Tucker Carlson said the site was going to be about and what it turned into. And with that pivot, he found results. The site, we checked, quadrupling its page views and total audience in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
To the New York Times.
We all know this. We all know this. We all know that the more people interact with something, the more successful it is. It doesn't matter if the interactions are positive or negative, it blows up. So, like, yeah, it's not surprising that if you get on the internet and tell lies on a major publication as someone with kind of a platform, you're going to have a lot of traffic your way, at least for a moment. Like, that's... And unfortunately, our current system of the internet, the money is rewarded to traffic. It doesn't, because of advertisement, it doesn't actually matter if the traffic is positive or negative. All that matters is whether or not they're going. And that's probably something that's worth looking into.
Which we know is a site that, at least then, Tucker Carlson thought was valid. Now, he may have taken that lesson when he did make it over to Fox, the place that he once said would be hard to imagine working at. Now, Carlson had joined Fox initially as a contributor which could mean anything, right? Those guests you see who pop in and out. But then he began co-hosting Fox and Friends Weekend and then got his evening show there in 2016. Now,
oh my God, has it really already been almost 8
Carlson
years?
may have looked to some like a kind of journeyman ball player who struck out on these other teams.
I can't believe that. I can't believe this dude's been on Fox News for almost 10 years now. Oh, man. That kind of hurts. That kind of hurts to realize. I mean, hopefully not for long.
More of the history than people sometimes realize, which may inform more of the grievance and pivots that he's executing on. But Carlson had basically tried everything, including pitching what he called accurate news to conservatives.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought that was ever going to work.
So he offered some of the most incendiary and
this man really went to a group. He went to a building full of some of the richest people in America who are squeezing money out of the working class as desperately as they can through any manipulation possible at their disposal. And he was like, "We should be more honest." No way, man.
Misleading material available at the time on Fox, and that formula brought in viewers.
I actually love Donald Trump as a guy.
No!
And
No! No! No way, dude! Oh, I actually love Donald Trump as a guy. And I can't stand him in the text, in the DMs. Also, does he shake his head no? Please tell me he shook his head no as he said that.
I actually love Donald Trump.
He shook his head no! This motherfucker. I actually love Donald Trump as a guy. He can't even hide it. He can't even hide it for 3 seconds, dude. That's so fucking funny. Oh, God. See, oh, man, that means nothing by itself. Him shaking his head no means nothing by itself. With the added context of knowing he doesn't like him at all, that actually is probably his body language slipping up for a moment. Otherwise, it could be many things. You know, you're nervous on a stage. You want to be more exaggerative. So that's why I try to refrain from doing body language reading stuff, because I mean it's bleh. It's pretty bleh. But that's funny.
And
that's so funny.
I know Trump. I've known Trump for 20 years because I work in the media, you know, and I just have always gotten along with him. Trump is like,
oh,
I just have always gotten.
That's a single shoulder shrug, a half shrug. People do that when they have zero confidence in what they just said. Oh my God. This man is leaking every step of the way with how much he actually doesn't like Trump. This is absolutely amazing. This is the best treat. Oh my God. This is so good. He just looks like an idiot.
Along with him. Trump is like totally charming and engaging and fun and interesting.
That was 3 months ago, and you can compare it to what he said privately, that he hates Trump passionately, that he can't wait to get past him. That's his own words, and there's a contradiction there. Now, Carlson wields influence. He's currently using this perch to mislead his viewers about the January 6th attack, giving cover to those actual trespassers and traitors.
Yeah, Kevin McCarthy, in a totally bipartisan decision, has only given Tucker Carlson and Fox News access to hours and hours and hours and hours of footage from the January 6th attacks. And he promises he'll deliver it to other news networks, but has not stated when. No one is sure why, I mean, other than the obvious reason why it was given to Fox first. And it appears that Tucker is showing very select moments, very short amount of footage of specific moments, to try and paint this narrative that it was like not trespassing, not a crime, and not a insurrection. Even going so far as to say that police were guiding people around, which I don't know if you realize this, that just makes the police in DC look worse. That just makes the way the country handled the insurrection from the conservative end look worse. So it's not, it'll work for some amount of people, unfortunately, but it's not as big of a play as I feel like they think it is.
And convicted seditionists. That's a project that's so extreme. It has now been rebuked by everyone from independent fact checkers and people who were there, reporters, the facts, of course, to the police officers that Fox and Mr. Carlson have claimed so often to be behind, to the most powerful Republican in the Senate, Mitch McConnell. But remember what we saw tonight. Mr. Carlson clearly made a decision a long time ago, and this is evidence, this is not opinion, just publicly decided how he would pursue his audience, and it doesn't involve
the truth,
consistency or facts.
No, he tried that for 3 months and then switched lanes and never looked back. That's exactly what that looked like. The money started rolling in, and then he was like, okay, yeah, fuck the truth.
It just involves figuring out where he thinks he can get that large audience, and along the way, if he is minimizing a sedition, so be it. But this is also much larger than Mr. Carlson. With all this exposed,
I don't know, he's kind of at the center of this.
It's all out here. Fox viewers have been exposed to what happened on January 6th. You can say they might be only relying on Fox or be less informed about certain things, but people saw January 6th. It unfolded live. In fact, we've shown the Fox coverage that day. People know what happened. The larger question is whether and why this movement appears to affirm this as their number one speaker and leader, affirm this kind of lying and attacks on democracy and a leadership that is clearly
money. Money from the people who want to hear it. Money from the people that the legislation it allows for them to push for will inevitably let them squeeze out of people. Money all the way around, 100%. But like, obviously he's not going to say that because he's also a part of corporatized media. You know, there are lines, lots of lines that MSNBC or any liberal news station is unwilling to cross. Because they have, you know, big business daddies and advertisers that they have to worry about and answer to. So even they are not going to criticize and attack the system as much as they actually should they hold the values and opinions that they say they do.
Is this your king? And as for Mr. Carlson,
stop saying that.
Who has gone on such a journey, we've showed it to you. You got to wonder sometimes, how does he actually feel if he is a human being here, right? What does he make of all this? And he is literally living out the thing he used to criticize, the right-wing shtick, the lies, the type of media that does not do what he said they needed, which was to have institutions of accuracy. Does he feel like he's lying every day? And if he did feel that way, would he ever just kind of have it seep out in a kind of a projection-filled tirade?
I don't know about that, but it was definitely leaking out in body language when he was on that stage. And I bet if we were to take a look back on a lot of select moments, we could see that's, I mean, kind of how these things go. It's almost impossible to tell if someone, like, especially through a TV or select moments when they're specifically aware of the fact that they're on camera and performing, it's like impossible to really tell if anyone's full of shit or actually believes what they're saying or anything. You can have your suspicions, you can be pretty damn sure, and I think a lot of us were pretty damn sure that none of them actually believed a lot of this crazy shit, but you can't know. But then once you have that evidence, when you look back, you can see things that reaffirm that truth. You know, like, oh yeah, this also highlights the fact that these were his true opinions, even back then. But you can't use those things to leap to the conclusion, if that makes sense. They're like, they work way more for supportive evidence than they do for convictional evidence.
Something like this?
Imagine forcing yourself to tell lies all day about everything in ways that were so transparent and so outlandish that there is no way the people listening to you could possibly believe anything you said.
He just called out his own program. And I don't think any of his supporters probably realized it. And that fact is just sitting pretty heavily in my head right now. He basically... At this point, I'm convinced he could actually say, I have been lying to you for years. And they'd all clap. Like, they would just be like, yeah! What a critical commentary on CNN! Like, what?
Then imagine doing that again and again and again every day of your professional life for your entire life.
Could you do that? Imagine that.
Oh my God, dude.
Turning now.
Oh my God, that is crazy. Fucker Carlson's tucked. Thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitch to join us live, like and subscribe, and I will catch you later.